Okay, let's do it. All right, so today's what we're going to cover here today is we're looking at the equity futures market, and we've got EMD over here, mid-cap 400 futures. Russell TF is right here in the middle, and we've got YM, the mini Dow over here, and we've got NASDAQ futures over here on the left. And what we wanted to talk about, I'm going to expand actually these two charts first. And we're going to look at one of the main topics today has been how to avoid how to stay out of a choppy range-bound market until the market has resolved its direction. You can see here on these two markets that essentially from open of the market, which is 6:30 Pacific here in California, so everything here is Pacific time, you can see that we were basically chopping sideways. Open of the market would have been over here on the left-hand side of the chart, 630s right here and 630s right here. You can see this is really range-bound until about between 7:15 and 7:30 we broke the midpoint of the ranges and started to come down and challenge support levels. In this case here, of course, on EMD, you can see that we took it out. And we had a retracement probe trade, and we broke down, and we're trading pivot to pivot now, which is in the direction of the prevailing trend, which resolved itself to the downside. We did take a short on the Russell. We actually took this probe trade bounce up here to resistance. Got filled short right up in here on this bounce. See how we had a thrust? Retracement, rolled over. Our stop was up here. It was a low-risk trade entry. Got filled short here. And rolled over, broke, and we trailed to stop, trailed to stop, trailed to stop. Then we boxed it in. And we actually got filled on the target. We had a target on this trade down here near this pivot. See the wick of that candle? If you recall, we had a target sitting right here, 2070, filled on the wick of that candle. And you can see it's good we got out. Can everybody see why we got out there? That was a good exit, wasn't it? Look at this huge bounce. Well, it would have stopped us out anyway. We had a trailing stop here. So the trade was boxed in. Likewise on EMD, here was our thrust. Here was our retracement. You had the probe trade set up here at 93.30. Rolls over, breaks through the 4/8 pivot. Down you go. Paused a little bit here. And then punch down. This was your final target, this 2/8 pivot support down at 988.30. Beautiful short trades. This trade right here was worth about 45, almost 50 ticks. $10 an instrument. That was a $450 trade. This trade here was about 350 bucks right here. Nice little short, right down to the pivot. Just hit it. Let's come over. We did have some divergence, interestingly enough, with the other markets. Here is let's take a look at YM real quick here. This is the mini Dow as opposed to the other two. You can see that we had some divergence in the fact that you still had a consolidation range. But interestingly enough, with YM, instead of it did actually punch out and put a double top in here at 7:30 Pacific. Here's the open of the cash market over here at 6:30. Kind of right in here, 6:30 Pacific would have been in the open. So you got a breakout. Didn't go much, double top, and then actually we had some traders that shorted this weakness on the break of the support through the 5/8 pivot down here, and you just came down and hit this swing right here. So you're back kind of in the soup that it was in earlier. We call that the soup, this yellow bus trading range that it was in. Now, interestingly enough, NASDAQ, due to the strength of Apple, which is up, I don't know, 14 bucks today at 5.59 a share. I think it's an all-time high on NASDAQ. But NASDAQ was the strongest of the bunch. You can see here that 6:30 Pacific on the NASDAQ chart was right here. Right in there. And you just had a series of breakout thrusts, breakout, pullback. We call these yellow bar probes where the bars turn yellow in the direction of the trend, which, of course, you can see for NASDAQ was up. Up, 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 up. Now, you know, looking at this chart now, you have to admit that I would say that, I'm going to take this off of here. I think you're consolidating in an upper range on NASI, which kind of looks like it's setting up to be this. Completely divergent from the other markets. You know, you got a lot of strength on NASDAQ fueled by Apple, and you got the weakness on the other markets. You got YM here. Let's tuck this in the corner again. Let's see what's happening on the other markets. Coming back to the other markets, stand by. There's your YM trade or chart. Let's come back over here to the Russell and EMD. Now you just got a yellow bar probe. This was your retracement on EMD. Let's pull these charts aside just for a second here so you can see them all. There was your probe. Here's your thrust. Here's your retracement. Came up, and it was beautiful on EMD. It just hit it. This was a potential re-entry short right here. Came right up to the pivot and rolled over. Here was your thrust. Here was your retracement. Here's your rollover. But the key takeaway from this morning was that, and this requires a lot of patience on traders' parts, is, you know, when the market is in a choppy, range-bound situation around the open, as it was here and here, you have to simply stay out of that until the market resolves its direction, and then step in and take the trades, which in this case was short on these two markets right here. Yeah, Arjun, those are high probability trades. Once a market breaks, we had a question coming in from the team here on these probes. Yeah, and when you have a clear direction now, which is down, when the market probes and does retracements up to resistance levels, well-defined resistance levels, those are good reentries, high probability reentries, absolutely. Here was your reentry on the Russell. It just happened a few minutes ago while we were looking at the other charts. See how you had that strong bounce, came up, you look for what we call a resumption of selling, which happened right here. See how it rolls over and breaks, and down you go. Now your first target here, of course, is your pivot, which it just hit it. It's just hitting it right now, and then you trail the stop on the rest if you're trading two contracts. That setup on EMD was over here. Came up, hit the pivot. You have a sell order here with a tight stop just above the swing pivot at 3/8, and down you go. And of course, your target is the swing low of the morning, which is right in here. There you go. That's right, probies. Anybody take those probes, by the way? Anybody reshort that? Reshort the market in here? Happened pretty quickly. It was a quick bounce. It's actually dragging YM down through the support level. That was your probie short. All right, any final questions before we wrap the session here? I think we had a good session. Hopefully you made some money. And we do have a webinar tonight, 5 o'clock Pacific. We'll see some of you there. Final questions before we wrap. Okay. Well, thanks for coming, everybody. Enjoy your Wednesday, and we will see some of you later on tonight. Bye now.